Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a really good upload for you guys. I have a subscriber, and he is going to share his encounter with us. He had a face-to-face and two vocal, actually. Scott and Sherry will be sharing their encounter with us tonight. Before we get into today's upload, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fan fiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that, well, they really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. Now I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with today's interview. Shall we? All right, everybody. Tonight I have a subscriber, and he's been with the channel for a while, a couple years now. His name is Scott. He's from Tennessee. He reached out to me through the comment section, and, you know, I seldom go through it anymore, and I'm really thankful that I caught Scott's comment, and we got to get together, and he's going to share a couple of really good encounters with us tonight. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Well, just like normal, I don't direct the show. The floor is yours, my friend. You share and share away, please.
All right. Back in the fall, of 2018, me and my girlfriend had went to my brother's place up in the mountains here in eastern Tennessee, a little town called Cosby. We're staying with my brother for a couple of weeks, you know, just to get away, have a little vacation, spend time with family. You know, Thanksgiving was right around the corner, so we're up there enjoying a little time with family. And I smoke, so I have to go outside to smoke there. And started late one night. I was on the porch smoking, and you could hear the howls down in the hollow. And, you know, where my brother lives out there, you know, there are a lot of hunters, of course, and they have hunting dogs. But this year, it was pretty, well, not only loud, but it's scary, especially that late at night. Trying to figure out what it was. Me and my girlfriend were sitting on the porch and just kept hearing, and the hunting dog, like I say, all in the hollow there, whimpering. I mean, it just, wow. Well, this went on for about the first week we were there, and you know, every night we'd come out and you could hear it, and it was like it was getting closer. I don't know if it was could sense someone out that late. I don't know, but it was, you know, pretty scary. Well, we had went to my cousin's place, which is pretty much right across from my brother's property there, and it stayed kind of late. And we're walking back, and, you know, we had started hearing the howls down in the hollow again, and we were trying to hurry back to my brother's place. Well, then we started hearing something off in the woods, coming through the woods. You could hear branches breaking, you could hear the leaves, and you could hear it all. I mean, and so we kind of picked up the step a little bit. We were coming up my brother's driveway and on foot, and we were walking. And then there was this really loud howl. I mean, it was like it was standing right next to us in the woods there. And, you know, we get about halfway across the yard, and it had stopped pretty much, I guess, at the wood line. And I would look back over there, and I could make out the outline of this creature standing there. And about that time, it rose. It had risen up and was holding, had its arm on the tree there and looking dead at us. The reason I know it was standing because the eyes on this thing, they were yellow, it kind of glowed. Not glowing, but probably the reflection from the street light in the yard. But, they were reflected back and you could see it. They were about 8 feet off the ground. And at that point, I kind of stood there with my girlfriend and like, okay, you go on to the porch. I'm going to stay right here because if it, was to come towards us, well, I don't know if I could do much, but I was going to do something. I had to. But she got to the porch all right. And, and then I started making my way, backing up. I wasn't taking my eyes off this thing, It was a pretty scary situation, standing there and felt like it stopped us all the way up the driveway and then it's just there. And when people say when, it howls and vibrates your insides, that's an absolute truth. That is an absolute truth. Well, at that point, we had gotten to the porch and, it had made its way from the woods and was going across the driveway, and it's like it stretched out across the driveway. This thing was huge. And from, earlier shows, I had asked a question to William, and he had said that, yellow eyes, and the way I described it, it was a werewolf, not a Dogman. So, it's good to get clarification from that. But also, I think the werewolf Dogman was hunting the creature, hunting the animals that the neighbor had, because he had guineas and peacocks and, he's always down there shooting at something late at night. That's the only thing I can think of why that thing was even in the area, to be honest. But yeah, that's one of the encounters I have.
Not to cut you off, but
go ahead.
You were able to see this one in the light, I'm assuming, a little bit.
Yes, I can make it out. I can make it out very well.
Can you give us a description of kind of like not exactly what you saw, but could you let us know like the snout, the build, the ears, if you don't mind?
Well, yeah, that's fine. The build was kind of slim and tall. Like I say, it was about 8 feet tall. The ears were long and on top. Had the little tufts of hair. You could make it out. I could make out a lot of this creature. It was either dark brown or black. Like I say, the eyes, were reflecting the light back. Its snout, I would say, I don't know. I didn't get a side profile, but it was looking at us. And, I'm not going to say it smiled, but we could see the whiteness of the teeth. The teeth, I'm going to guess probably about 2 inches, the fangs, easily 2 inches. And I'm looking at it probably no more than 50 yards away. No more than 50 yards away.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely. All right, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just, every once in a while I might cut you off if I come up with a question that I feel is pertinent for the topic. So I apologize.
Oh, no, you're fine, Jeff. Anytime. Anything you want clarification on, absolutely. Now, the second time we had an encounter, we had went to visit with a cousin of hers, and she was getting a property ready to sell, which is right on the outskirts of Cosby, which is coming on into town like Newport. You're in Cobb County, in Tennessee. But coming on in towards Newport here, she had a property, I guess, about a mile and a half outside the city, about a mile and a half outside the city. And she's got about 10 acres. And most of it was, pretty much cleared off, mowed down, had a couple of hay fields that were regularly mowed, some shrubbery, nice trees, woods on the outskirts of it all. And we were there attending a cookout at the 4th of July of last summer. This is in 2019. And, we had us a good evening, cooked out, and so there's a good gathering, about 20 of us out there. After most of them had done one home, we're getting everything put up, cleaning up the grilling stuff, everything like that, trash, sitting on the porch, having a drink, and just kind of relaxing, because it was so hot that day. Nice chilly night. Guess about 11 or 12 o'clock, about midnight, I'll say, about midnight, you'd hear like coyotes yipping, kind of off in the distance, but like they were getting closer. Well, this went on for 30, 45 minutes, She had lights set up around the property, motion lights on the garage. And the way this place is set up, it's a very large 2-story house, has a wraparound Victorian-type porch, which we were sitting on, and has a garage with a little covered walkway that goes from the garage to the house. And then in the back of it, there's like a large gazebo with a hot tub in it. Well, we're sitting on the back porch area there, and when all this is in, these coyotes are yipping and howling a little bit, about 30, 45 minutes into the yipping, and we hear this large howl. I mean, this is, I would say, within 5 miles of where we had the first encounter. And we hear this howl, and I'm like, that doesn't sound good. I told my girlfriend, this doesn't sound good at all. It seems like, things prowling a larger area. This is several ridges over from the one we were on at my brother's. So, different part of the county. And we hear this large howl, and I say this doesn't sound good, but and then the coyotes, this is what got me about it. The coyotes, it's like they backed away. They left. You couldn't hear them anymore, and you couldn't see them. I mean, you could see them. Like I say, she had lights all around the property, and you could see them, just outside the lights, skittering around. I don't know if they were trying to get what they were hunting, maybe even the leftovers from the cookout. Not sure. But, after the large howl, they disappeared. I don't know where they went. But then we started, hearing it howl more and more, and we could hear it coming through the woods in the back there. And, like I say, 10 acres, and she's pretty much sitting on the front half of it. The back half is pretty much woods. So you could hear it all in these woods, howling and moving around. Now, I don't know if this was a Dogman or a werewolf or what, but this was, the howl was a little different. It was deeper, and more menacing is what I would say. Definitely more menacing. And, it gets closer and closer to the area where we're at. Well, next thing we know, there's something on the roof of the garage, and we can't, look around and see, and don't really want to be honest. After the first encounter we had almost a year before, we were kind of hesitant about really wanting to look for these things, that's for sure. But to even want to know what it was. But for about an hour from that point, it it would stay on the roof of the garage or the roof of the house or even over to the roof of the gazebo. Now, this is, like I say, it's all covered. You know, you're underneath like a roof that's got covered walkways, you know what I mean? And we could hear it the entire time going all over this. And it's not like, you know, little, like, raccoons or anything like that. And it's not like, you know, the skittering you hear whenever they go across your roof. No, these are bipedal steps. This is like a grown man up there walking around, and there's no access for anyone to get on top of these roofs other than a ladder. And there wasn't any ladders out, that's for sure. And the only people who were there at the time were me, my girlfriend, and her cousin. That was it. Her cousin had done retired for the evening, and me and my girlfriend, like I say, we were on the back porch area at that time, but it didn't take us long to find the inside of the house, that's for sure. Man, I guess, you know, I've heard a lot of people say, you know, the growls, and that's the one thing that really sticks with me about these, you know, how it can shake your inside. And I'll tell you what, you know, I don't run from much. I'll put it that way. I've always been taught to stand my ground. Dad raised us kind of mean, I guess you could say, but I'll always, you know, don't run from what you fear. But I tell you, these things have definitely, you know, they'll put a fear in you, whether you realize it or not. I mean, it's a primal fear. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, if you haven't had it happen or you hadn't heard it, it's definitely it's a sound that you will never forget, no matter how long it was. It sticks with you forever. And, you know, I mean, speaking for myself, I periodically will think about it, and I'm like, that was just, you know, I vividly recall those sounds the night I had my encounter, and it stayed with me. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And once you hear the first one, no matter if they are a little different, you know, like I say, the second one had a lot more menace to it, I guess you can say, but it was deeper. It, you know, had a lot more bass to it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it just, man, the first time you hear it, all the hairs on your body go straight up. Your insides turn to jelly. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. Man, it's not something you really want to just be face to face with, and you can tell. I mean, even the first time, you know, I could tell something not normal, you know, was going on, and I could tell something not normal was near me. You know, it's not like I have a sixth sense or anything, but you can feel it. You can feel like a dread coming off of these creatures. You really can. Now we get to the third one here I want to share with you. Where we're living at now, which is in Newport, we live in an apartment complex. There are 88 units here, but it's surrounded on three sides by woods. And, you know, last winter, we started hearing the howls here, and which is kind of weird. You know, I mean, we're out in the county, but we're also right in the city as well. I mean, it's where the two meet. And, you know, there's several ridges around here that you can hunt on. There's lots of paths to the woods here if you want to go on just a little hike or a day walk, whatever you want to do. I mean, you know, it's a pretty good place. It's not privately owned, and most of the people around here are pretty friendly. So, you know, a lot of people cut through a lot. And we had started hearing howls last winter. Now, it I had taken some garbage out late at night, and the way this property's set up on the very end, and it's all fenced in, of course, but on the very end of the property as you come in, go straight back. It's where the dumpsters are for this place. And there's like an 8-foot chain link fence that runs the property here. And at first, I thought raccoons were back there coming out getting to the dumpster, because some of the people in here actually do feed the raccoons. They have cat food on their porch, and they'll come up, even on the second story here, and on the second floor, and eat what they put out for them. Which some people do, some people don't. But at first I thought it would be raccoons back there at the dumpster area. But after the howls we heard, I'm not so sure on that anymore. But getting on into, after we heard the howls last winter, this year, just within the past 3 months now, we've been hearing, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you can hear something going across the roof here. And it's bipedal for sure, because it's step, 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 step. And the steps are, I guess, 4 or 5 feet, or 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there apart. And so whatever it is, fairly large and heavy, because we live, like I said, on the second floor. And there's like, 6 feet between the roof and our ceiling at the highest point. And, you can hear it, and we hear it not every night, but about every other night. And ours isn't the only building it goes across. Other neighbors I've talked to have said, yeah, I've heard that, but I don't know what it is. Probably a raccoon. I'm like, if a raccoon went across this roof, we wouldn't hear it. We really wouldn't. I mean, we have heating and air units running, and you wouldn't hear that no matter how late it is. But, I say you can hear it, and you can hear like the claws, I guess, on the feet. Like they're into the shingles as it goes across the roof. That's what I say. Definitely bipedal steps. But that's 3 of the things I wanted to share with you. Also, after every one of these encounters, and just, I'd say less than a week ago, we've had this happen as well. Military aircraft. And, I know they get out and fly around the mountains here some, but below the hard deck is one thing. It's like they're flying just right above the roofs. I don't know if they're using that as a way, honestly, to herd them or something. I don't know. But the same way at my brother's place, the jets would be over within a week or 2 of these happenings. The same way at her cousin's. We were on the phone with her 2 weeks after our encounter with her cousin, and at her cousin's place, and the jets had flown over, and low. You could just about read the numbers on the tail fins on the jets. That's pretty low. But that happens about every time, and like I say, just within the last week, we've had them go overhead here. And there's no way that they're not touching the treetops. There's no way. There's no way. And they say, William had said at one time that more or less military projects, with these dogmen and werewolves and such, I wonder if that's a way that maybe they're hurting them, or maybe that's a way that they're moving them from area to area, using the sonic boom, maybe to get their attention. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It's just something, maybe I thought of it because of the jets being you know. But I say thank you much, Jeff, for letting me come on and share my encounters. I appreciate it much, buddy.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on. I actually have a quick question. Your wife, or girlfriend, excuse me, she, when you saw the first Dogman or werewolf, how far away was she from you and this creature?
She was right beside me when we first had this sighting. Yes.
Okay.
With this creature.
Okay. Now, how is she doing with coping, or, the realization that these things exist?
Hi, Jeff. I'm Sherry. I'm Scott better half.
Well, hello, ma'am. How are you? Thank you for coming on, too.
I'm doing good. Thank you for having us on, Jeff. It has been really hard because we had always been out in the woods camping, hunting, and now I don't want to go outside. I'm afraid if I hear a howl, I'm going to get right back inside. I'm not an outdoor person anymore at all, and having nightmares and, thinking I'm something on the roof or something on the porch. It's just it's a different way of life for us.
Right, I can understand completely. I do understand completely, actually.
Yeah.
So I really, truly appreciate you guys both coming on tonight and sharing. Now, really quick, when you had the opportunity to see this, what was your first thought when you saw the creature, Sherry?
The growling, I first thought it was a bear because we had always grown up hunting and stuff, and I'm like, that's not a bear. And then by the time he told me to run on to his brother's house, when I turned around to look at him to make sure, are you going to be okay? And he goes, go. And when I looked around, it had stretched itself out across the road almost and was just dipping around. And when I looked back, it was done at the tree, like he said. It was just, it moved fast. The eyes were horrible. It was just, but I made it to the house and I went on in and he came running and it was something that I don't know if it's following us. I don't know if it's different ones, but everything runs through your mind, when you see it. And it was the typical, it looked like a, German Shepherd dog head on something that was almost, 8 feet tall, long and lanky. It's just like everybody else said. Right. And it's not anything you want to go out hunting for. And once you see it, you pray, that you don't ever see another one.
Oh, absolutely.
It's affected us greatly. It really has. But we appreciate you letting us come on and tell our story, and hopefully more people will be aware and be safe, if they still go into the woods or go camping and or protect themselves when they are out there.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that that you feel like you can't go into the woods anymore. It's because you've had 3 encounters, 1 face-to-face, 2 vocal. So I can completely I can completely understand your fear, and because you think it'd be like just a chance in a lifetime, or 1 in a million that you're going to have an encounter, but yet you and Scott have had 3, and I can't say, well, go back out in the woods and it'll never happen again. It's very unfortunate that that this has happened 3 times to you, that you guys can't go out and enjoy the wilderness without having that thought in the back of your mind. Are we going to see this? Is this,
Yeah, 'cause every time, we hear any kind of howling or anything, we just automatically look at each other and we're like, no, it can't be. Please, because we're close to Cades Cove, we're at the Foothills Parkway, we're at, right in the middle of the Smoky Mountains almost, national parks all around us, and, every time we even hear anything, we look at each other like, no, this can't, no. So we just, it's sad that we live in such a beautiful country and can't really get out and enjoy it like we did, at once upon a time. But I'm glad that you have this channel and made this stuff, known to people. It's not a joke. It's not funny. People should be able to come on and tell, their stories and their encounters without being judged or criticized. It's real. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I didn't either, until we've had all these encounters. I just appreciate you so much for letting us come on and having the platform, for letting people voice this. It's amazing. We really appreciate you, Jeff.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Is there anything that, Scott, you want to say before we end the interview?
Once again, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to share these encounters, and anyone out there, still going out into the woods, please, 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 for the love of God, be safe. Take protection with you, or definitely go in numbers. Alone is probably not such a good idea. Definitely not.
Yeah, some sound advice right there. Well, Sherry and Scott, I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
And it's been an honor having you guys on.
No, the honor was all ours, Jeff. Thank you so much. If you're ever down this way, look us up.
I definitely will.
All right.
All right. You have a good one.
You as well. Wow, some really nice people right there. And some really good encounters. Terrifying to be face to face. Definitely terrifying, and well put, just the vocal one, you can almost visualize what is going on. And that's why I've always said that to me, seeing these creatures is terrifying. But when you don't see them and you kind of know, or you definitely know what it is, and you can't see it and you can just hear it moving and doing what it's doing, is all the more terrifying. I don't know which I would want to have. I don't want another one, actually. But, at least when you see it, you know where it is, and you at least have some sort of game plan. You know where it is. First, you know where it is. You know if it's going to be, it's fast, so it could get on you quickly, but at least you have a game plan. I can get back to my porch. I can run to my car. I might be able to get a shot off. But if you can't see it and you just hear where it is, it could do a whole different scenario on you. You might think it's coming from behind and it's in front of you, and boom, you're gone. So, I don't know. Anyway, I got a bunch of stuff lined up for you, and I still have that surprise, guys. Don't worry, I haven't forgot. I'm working on it right now. I'm just kind of getting everything in order for it, and trust me, you guys are definitely going to like it. With that, I'm going to bid you farewell.